Welcome back. I'm glad you're here with me this evening again and so happy to have you. We're going to pick up where we left off in early January. I think it's been 3 weeks since I made a video, and reason being, I joined our church this year right after the new year for a 21-day fast. And so part of my fasting was kind of staying off social media except to do birthday celebrations for my family in January. Really enjoyed that time in prayer and fasting and drawing closer and growing to the Lord and growing spiritually. And I hope that you have started your year with some ritual that means a lot to you, that helps to grow you, and not necessarily grow in leaps and bounds kind of grow, but in finding yourself entering the year grounded. Sometimes some people do that at the beginning of the year. Some people to pick another milestone during the year for them. I generally do the early part, the prayer and fasting, and then make my goals and my plans for the year for my birthday, because I have an early birthday. So this month coming in a couple of days in February, I get to do that. I'm so excited about it. That Man, I thought we were in February already. Come on, February, come on. So anyway, let's pick up where we left off. We were talking about menopause in the previous video, touched on perimenopause, and the video kind of cut off before even I started talking about symptoms and management, because it is such a big topic here. So before I jump right in, this is Delighted MP, your women's health, lifestyle, and health person. And so I'm glad you're here with me. And we're going to touch different topics throughout the year. And I want to share with you what's worked for me. And I want to hear back from you. What's working for you? Share it with other people. Put it in the comments. Drop it in the comments so we can share with others. So I'm going to go back to menopause, which I told you last time is the day when your cycle stops, your menstrual cycle stops. 1 year after that date, that's your menopause day. Anytime after that, postmenopause. And then anything before that, even if your cycle has stopped and restarted and kind of changed pattern, or come and then come twice a month, all those pattern changes, all those are indicative of hormonal changes. It's called pre or perimenopause. And so along with that now, for some people, even in pre and perimenopause, which can be years, months, it varies from person to person. Personally, I went almost a whole year, more than 11 months without a cycle, and then it came back. But didn't have any symptoms during those 11 months. My menopausal symptoms did not stop until I was did not start until I was in menopause completely. But some people do have symptoms before. So what symptoms are we talking about? Things like hot flashes seems to be the biggest issue. And so then when you have hot flashes, they can occur during the day, at night, anytime. It starts interrupting your sleep. When we have that sleep interruption, it causes a lot of memory problems, irritation, mood changes. The other thing that is related to sleep or not with sleep is heart issues, right? So the changes in hormones can cause palpitations, and then sometimes just fatigue. So those are some of the symptoms. I'm sure other sisters have had other different ones. For me, it started with the hot flashes, the sleeplessness, being awakened at least 3-4 times a night. And when that happened, then the interruption with sleep would make me really irritable, agitated and anxious, which is not something for my baseline. It was really out of the very rare for me. And then eventually I started getting palpitations, and that's when I decided, even with all the fact that I work in women's health, that I know a lot about it, I was resistant to starting hormone therapy unless I really needed. Now, don't let that be your experience. It does take, when you start hormone therapy, about 2 to 3 weeks before you're starting to feel the effects of the medications. And I am telling you, you don't have to go through that discomfort to get there. Of course, this is a conversation to have with your healthcare provider, but I want to empower you to have that conversation, to get help for yourself, share with your sisters, and have them get help too. we as women do not have to have our physical health and our mental health be affected by the hormonal changes of menopause. Due to time and to keep you engaged, today will complete on menopause, and then next time I will pick up and talk about pre or perimenopause for my younger sisters. Anyway, menopause and hormone therapy. Hormones, there are hormone clinics out there, and I am not saying anything against a hormone clinic. You do have to pay for those most of the time, or the compounding medications, you do have to pay for them. I will tell you that if you have health insurance coverage, your health insurance coverage pays for hormones. So go to your medical doctor, your women's health provider. You don't have to be paying out of pocket for these medications, except testosterone, if that is appropriate for you. That is not paid for by insurance. It is compounded, and whatever form you get it in, you have to pay for it, but it is quite affordable. Now, coming back to hormones, estrogen and progesterone, those are your hormones that kind of get depleted in menopause, because we no longer have a cycle, we no longer have ovulation, the egg production that produces hormones, and that most of the time will cause the symptoms that we have. And so those can be replaced, the patch, pill, gels, vaginal, and if you have an intact uterus, meaning a woman who hasn't had a hysterectomy, you do need progesterone. There's also some anecdotal evidence that progesterone helps with sleep. So some people take it before sleep, and some people who do not qualify for estrogen therapy due to their health, maybe they have had estrogen dependent cancers, or some women are still just fearful, you can take progesterone. It is safe. If sleep is an issue, it does help with sleep. Doesn't help very much with hot flashes, though, if hot flashes is what's keeping you up. So please ask your healthcare provider about what's right for you. Generally, what method you get is based on what symptoms you are having. The patch seems to be the most common thing used. There are weekly patches, bi-weekly patches. I will tell you from experience, bi-weekly patches, do those. The other thing I want to address real quick, because this video is getting really long, because menopause is so much, there's so much to talk about, is weight gain. Yes, this is the season, perimenopause, premenopause, menopause, where you start to see, even with lifestyle, even with a healthy lifestyle, you start to see those natural changes start happening in your body. And that's because this has a lot to do with your genetics now. We're talking about a huge portion of this having to do with genes as opposed to lifestyle. So this is the time where it's mandatory that you start exercising. If you haven't been, get an exercise program, and in menopause you want to focus on building muscles, so make sure that's included in your exercise program. And it doesn't mean that you have to be in the gym. I am not a gym person. I use YouTube as my gym, but I am consistent, and so I recommend at least 5 to 6 days a week, at least 20 minutes. I do 20 minutes during the week and then 30 minutes on weekend. I do miss some days, and sometimes I just choose to dance rather than exercise, and just get moving. Just move, that's it. If you want to be the person with a particular body type, you want to have muscles, then yes, you do have to work for it. So then get in a gym, or get a trainer. But it is not optional at this point. Otherwise, you are going to be miserable through this season. You really are going to be, if you don't start moving. And then the other thing is, a healthy diet becomes really important, right? If you have been kind of just eating whatever you want for a long period of time, tighten up that diet a little, increase that protein, tighten things up. Your body needs you to take care of it now. It is taking care of you for the first portion of your life, and that's a lot of years. For me, it was 50. So time for me to take care of it, to take me through the next season. And I hope you're thinking the same thing. So I hope that you will have that discussion. There are very few people who cannot use hormones, and those are people who are have an estrogen dependent cancer, women with severe heart disease, smokers. Those are the ones I can think of up front, but definitely a conversation to have with your healthcare provider. And so I will leave you with that. There are new evidence that's showing us that doing hormone therapy does help with bone health and cardiac health. So if you are not having symptoms and you can benefit from that, do also talk with your healthcare provider. But this is a beautiful season mentally. Oh my gosh. what happens to your brain is awesome. And so women, I hope that you are celebrating this wonderful season. I am loving it. And I hope that all of you are celebrating it, because if you're getting the help you need, it's awesome. It is beautiful. And then one little tip I wanted to add on, because I get asked this often. People think that my hair is this color, and many of us in menopause and in this season know that the gray hairs come in. Some people choose to keep theirs, and if you do, kudos to you. I don't. Mine are ugly. It is not so much gray as it's an ugly brownish kind of silver, ugly, some, I don't know what that color is called. But anyway, I don't like it. So, and it always comes along the edges, right? And in the back, and then in the middle. So just right where you can see it. So that puts you in the hair salon, or doing it by yourself with a dye at least every 4 weeks. I am telling you to save myself some money and save myself some time. My hairdresser won't like me saying this. I am not there every 4 weeks. I try to stretch it out to 6 weeks. So what happens in those 2 weeks, like now, if I didn't have my magic formula on, you would see these grays all along here. It is my little thing that I use. It's called Quick Cover Up. It is from, I get mine from Amazon. It's fairly cheap, probably $7 for 2 of them. But I don't get any kickbacks on this, but it's awesome. You can't even see. I have it on all along here, and it lasts all day. So that's my little tip for you. Till next time, take care of yourself and stay delighted.